They exterminate his family and left him in dirt of poverty. For the oligarchs, he was just another non-entity whose life, emotions, feelings, and struggles were meaningless. But he painted his life with meaning by emkying death as the last wish of arrogant oligarchs. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your comments are my motivation, so don't forget to share your review.
It was 2071, years after a meteor crashed into Earth, flooding big parts of the continent and turning the Korean peninsula into a desert. Only about 1% of humanity survived, and they now rely on limited oxygen masks to breathe. Society's split into 3 classes: people in the general district, the lucky ones in the special district, and the super rich in the core district. Those who didn't make it into these zones are left as refugees, struggling without enough oxygen or food. Some of these refugees turned into hunters and looters, trying to survive by any means necessary. In this harsh world, we follow a courier named 5-8 who delivers oxygen and supplies across the desert. During one of his trips, he's attacked by hunters. 5-8 fights them off, proving his reputation as a tough and skilled courier. This inspires some refugees, giving them hope that they, too, could become couriers. In Gangnam City, a refugee named Sawol gets ambushed by hunters who want his oxygen. While his friends hide, Sawol fights them off and wins. He later returns to the general district, where he has a run-in with the authorities while trying to sneak into a cabin. A soldier named Seol-ah catches him, and they fight. Seol-ah warns Sawol that the district's surveillance is getting tighter and punishes him by making him stay in the cabin for 15 days. Meanwhile, 5-8 gets a mysterious message and heads to the core district, a fancy area compared to the general district. Here, President Shin Myung and director Ryu Hee-jin discuss relocating refugees due to overcrowding. Ryu Hee-jin's son, is supposed to oversee the construction of a new district, but he's frustrated with the government's interference. Despite his punishment, Sawol sneaks out again and plots with his friends to rob a supply truck. They don't realize the driver is 5-8, who tricks them and knocks them out with an electric shock. When Sawol makes it into the truck, 5-8 is surprised but quickly removes him. After dealing with a storm, 5-8 reaches Districta, where he sees a truck loaded with water cores, giving him hope. Seol-ah arrives at Districta to investigate, but is denied entry without permission. On her way back, she nearly crashes into 5-8's truck. They meet, and Seol-ah tells him to leave the area. Sawol returns to the cabin, where Seol-ah confines him to prevent more trouble. 5-8 visits a refugee area and helps a girl whose oxygen tank is empty. She dreams of becoming a courier like him, even wearing a hat with his number. 5-8. Later, 5-8 learns the water cores were taken to District 8 and decides to go there. He and others are determined to help the refugees. 5-8 delivers supplies to Seol-ah, who is happy. After he leaves, the district's security cameras go offline. Seol-ah hears a knock, thinking it's a delivery, but it's actually armed men who try to inject her with something harmful. Sawol bursts in, fighting off the attackers. During the chaos, he gets shot and collapses, but not before seeing a man escape from Seol-ah's cabin. After the gunshot, 5-8 rushed over and took out the unknown attacker, who seemed to be part of the group that went after Seol-ah. Inside the cabin, he found Seol-ah and Sawol on the floor. He noticed a distinct mark on the back of one of the dead robbers' necks and realized Sawol was still alive. Knowing Sawol as a smuggled refugee and the guy who sneaked into his truck before, 5-8 quickly took him away, reported the incident, and got a fellow courier to help care for the unconscious Sawol. When Seol-ah and her soldiers arrived, she had them retrieve her sister Seol-ah's body. She did a scan to recreate what happened, ready to face the consequences of smuggling a refugee, but the soldiers supported her, sparing her from punishment. Back at 5-8's cabin, Sawol woke up, and a courier named 4-1 helped 5-8 with Sawol's wound. Sawol wanted to see Seol-ah, who had been killed, so 5-8 asked 4-1 to sedate him. It turned out Sawol survived because of his unusually strong skull, and 5-8 noticed his leg bones were different from a normal human's. A few days later, 5-8 got called to the special district for an interrogation by Seol-ah about the attack. She said the district's cameras malfunctioned during the incident, and the cabin's memory card was lost. She hinted Seol-ah might have opened the door for a family member, soldier, or courier, but 5-8 denied it, saying he got there after it happened. He also confirmed the soldiers had already done a simulation of the event, making more more questions unnecessary. Still, Seol-ah kept asking why 5-8 left early, trying to find out where Sawol was. 5-8 said he had a crucial delivery to make. After the questioning, Seol-ah went back to the cabin and found Sawol, deep in thought about Seol-ah, unable to remember what happened. Seeing his state, Seol-ah, knowing about his frequent meetings with friends in the refugee district, eventually lifted her ban on him leaving. Sawol said he loved the place, but felt guilty for the burden on those protecting him. Before he left, Seol-ah gave him a necklace, a reminder of Seol-ah's care for him over the years, moving him to tears. Meanwhile, back at 5-8's cabin, he found Sawol had left during the night. Feeling guilty about Seol-ah's death, Sawol decided to find the hunters he once beat and ask them to end his life. The hunters, eager for revenge, beat him up, but 3 of his friends intervened and stopped them. The next day, in the refugee district, soldiers came to recruit workers for a year-long project, offering oxygen and food upon completion. 5-8 asked his friend 2-4 to get a job on the district, a construction site, and 2-4 boarded the bus to join as a laborer. Sawol, still unconscious, was taken away by his friends. A courier named 5-7 got an order to meet Ryu-seok. 5-7 admitted he couldn't keep kidnapping people from the general district and refugees because of rumors of cruel experiments. Ryu-seok offered him citizenship in the core district for life if he complied. At the same time, 5-8's fellow couriers tracked down the kidnappers with help from a brave teenager acting as bait. They attacked at night and rescued the kids from their captors. After days of treatment, Sawol woke up, still haunted by memories of Seol-ah. In the core district, Yi-jin told Ryu-seok about a murder case in Jinjeong's general district. Yi-jin didn't trust anyone, including Ryu-seok, and emphasized he built the district and water cores to save people. Ryu-seok tried to convince his father of his capabilities. Sawol's grandfather Yoon comforted Sawol, advising him to let go of his sorrow. Ryu-seok was seen getting treatment for an illness needing regular blood transfusion, possibly from kidnapped kids. 5-8 visited Yoon to ask about Sawol, showing the bullet taken from Sawol's head as proof of his resilience. Yoon revealed Sawol's father had worked in a radioactive area, leading 5-8 to suspect Sawol was a mutant. 5-8 shared about the disappearance of 100 child refugees and recent kidnappings in the general district, mostly targeting kids Sawol's age. 5-8 asked Yoon to let Sawol come with him, but Yoon wanted Sawol to stay under his care, still grappling with the chaos from Seol-ah's murder. In her office, Seol-ah found access to the general district block. Her subordinate, Sergeant Lee, explained that due to her relationship with Seol-ah, the minister decided they shouldn't handle the case there. They had backup data, including evidence of murders and kidnappings implicating the couriers. Despite the setback, they planned to continue investigating. During a meeting, Seol-ah realized 5-7 had been on leave at the time of the incident, so 5-8 was assigned to deliver supplies in 5-7's place. When 5-8 headed home, he saw the back door of 5-7's truck open and found 5-7 with a noose around his neck. 5-8 rushed to save him. After being saved, 5-7 confessed to the kidnappings, but didn't know his accomplices' identities, only that the kids were for experiments. Before he could reveal the location, Ryu-seok remotely executed him for refusing another abduction. Ryu-seok learned Seol-ah was Seol-ah's sister and asked his assistant if she was their target. The assistant confirmed, saying she was born before the Oxidenium mine case. Angry, Ryu-seok thought about eliminating the assistant, but then apologized, promising not to make the same mistake again. He started planning to divert attention from the murder case in the general district. Meanwhile, the couriers watched as 4-1 faced a challenge and won. Right after, another courier tried to take on 5-8. With just one hit, 5-8 easily beat him, showing off his skills. In the refugee district, soldiers handed out leaflets to recruit new couriers. Sawol's friends found one and brought it to him, making him excited. When 5-8 was about to leave for a delivery, he saw Sawol in front of his truck, but decided to keep driving, not bothered by Sawol being there. 9 years ago, when 5-8 was still a refugee, he saw soldiers attack his district. Full of rage and wanting to protect his people, he fought fiercely and beat most of the soldiers. But then, 2 soldiers shot him from behind, making him collapse. Thinking he was dead, the soldiers started gathering the bodies of refugees to burn them. 5-8 saw a chance, grabbed a weapon from a fallen refugee, and took out the soldier. Back in the present, 5-8 drove his truck towards Sawol. Sawol quickly lay on the ground to avoid getting hit. 5-8 stopped the truck, got out, and Sawol showed him the recruitment flyer, saying he wanted to become a courier and asked for 5-8's help. At first, 5-8 hesitated, but after hearing Sawol's sincere plea and gratitude for past help, he agreed to give Sawol a chance to prove himself. Flashing back to the past, after losing thousands of refugees, 5-8 was determined to get revenge on Shinmyong, who orchestrated the massacre. He knew becoming a courier would give him the power and resources needed for his plan. plan. In her office, Seol-ah got a report about 5-8 and 10 couriers meeting at a gym. She ordered her troops to get ready for an ambush. Meanwhile, 5-8 arrived at the gym and discussed the kidnapping case, revealing that the abductees were mutant minors. He showed pictures of Sawol's metallic leg bones with quick healing wounds. The plan was to use Sawol as bait to find the other missing children. While talking, 5-8 heard a noise and quickly opened the door, surprising Seol-ah and her companion, who were spying. Inside the gym, the couriers pretended to practice to keep their cover. Still, Seol-ah insisted that 5-8 speak in a separate room. She suspected that 5-7, who was on leave when her sister died, might have been involved in the attack. Unwilling to believe the official results, Seol-ah questioned their accuracy. 5-8 then revealed that 5-7 died in front of him when a small bomb in his head exploded. To back up his story, 5-8 showed a tattoo found on the neck of the cabin attacker. The next day, Sawol arrived at the gym as 5-8 requested. 5-8 and 4-1 were already there. With few words, 5-8 challenged Sawol in the ring. After some playful sparring, 5-8 landed a decisive punch, knocking Sawol down and urging him to think twice about becoming a courier. In the refugee district, Ryu Siak announced courier recruitment, but only one person would be chosen. Many residents, including Sawol and his friends, signed up. During the motor selection process, Sawol passed and got selection number 34. He started rigorous training with 5-8 and other couriers to improve his skills. After training, the first selection round was in a low-oxygen room with random fights. Sawol defeated all contestants in his room, but realized there was another winner from a separate room. They had to face each other in the second round. Meanwhile, Seol-ah arrived in the refugee district and asked a refugee, whose son was kidnapped, to look for people with a specific neck tattoo and spread its image. At night, 5-8 and his team ambushed the courier's motorcade, freeing the couriers after overpowering the guards. 2-4 met 5-8 and revealed their project was done, and the couriers were set to be transported to the Oxidenium mine. 2-4 also shared info about upcoming Arrow operational tests. 5-8 told 2-4 to buy time to avoid suspicion and maintain cover. 5-8 had to shoot 2-4 in the hands to keep up appearances. Ryu Siak heard about the freed couriers, and Seol-ah soon met with him. He learned that the district project was 90% complete and requested data from Seol-ah for a smooth relocation process. At the gym, Sawol shared he passed the first round and was prepping for the second by practicing extreme driving skills. On selection day, officers explained the task: safely deliver a package to the finish line while facing skilled, notorious hunters. Participants could use any weapon to protect the package. During the intense selection, couriers and Ryu Siak watched as chaos unfolded. Participants fell one by one, but Sawol survived until his car crashed, throwing him out. Sawol kept running with the package and decided to help a fellow participant whose car had collapsed. They were attacked by hunters, but Sawol pushed the car, helping them survive. 2 hunters climbed on the car, and Sawol fought them off. He saw another participant cross the finish line, but chose to help his colleague Han-Soo, who was surrounded by hunters, even though he could have secured second place. After saving Han-Soo, Sawol rushed to the finish line. Han-Soo was named the second winner, and Sawol was disqualified for delivering a damaged package and losing his car. That evening, one of 5-8's colleagues reported Han-Soo resigned due to a broken arm. The couriers proposed Sawol as a replacement for the finals. Upon hearing Chul-woon's news, Ryu Siak isn't on board at first, worried it might give refugees hope and mess up their plans. But to keep up appearances, he eventually agrees to the courier's proposal. The next day, an officer brings Sawol a graduation bracelet, making him and his friends super happy. Meanwhile, Seol-ah gives Ryu Siak data on the resident's sex, age, and oxygen use. But Ryu Siak wants more: intelligence, strength, occupation, criminal records, DNA, and medical records. Seol-ah says this info is sensitive and needs the Minister of Defense's permission because of human rights issues. Ryusha contacts the minister, and despite Seol-ah's concerns, she has to comply. Soon after, Seol-ah hears about a tattooed man in the refugee district and heads there, confirming his presence. Expecting his escape, she sets up an ambush. The man tries to flee and even ambushes Seol-ah, but her team surrounds him. Desperate, he tries to detonate a bomb in his neck to avoid capture. They find a cell phone in his pocket during the ambush. The next day, Sawol moves to the special district, living in a dorm under his mentor, 4-1. From that day, footage of Sawol's fight with his escaped comrade is shown to the resident. On the day of the final courier selection, 5-8 and his his team prepare to hijack a vehicle carrying a power plant for District A. They intercept the motorcade, attack, and place a bomb on the power plant. Meanwhile, Ryu Seok hears about the attack from Chul-woon and recalls a conversation with Chin Myung about the residents' data. Chin Myung reminds Ryu Seok of the tough choice to save only 1% of Koreans in the past and stresses relocating all survivors under government leadership. Ryu Seok dismisses this, saying there isn't enough oxygen production for everyone. Ryu Seok, angry, increases the oxygen in tubes containing abductees, causing them to die. He wants to eliminate all remaining refugees. The next day, broadcast trucks stream the final fight of the courier selection in the refugee district, with food and oxygen provided to engage the audience. Ryu Seok orchestrates this to distract from the planned execution of the refugees. Amid the chaos, 5-8 intercepts a black sedan with a tattooed person linked to child kidnapping. After defeating the attackers, he retrieves a bomb from one of their necks. Meanwhile, Sawol enters the arena for his match. Though his opponent gains the upper hand initially, Sawol allows himself to be beaten to gauge his opponent's strength. In the refugee district, a tattooed man is spotted among the spectators. During the second round, Sawol tires out his opponent deliberately. 5-8 interrogates the captured tattooed man and finds a message on his phone about the planned execution of refugees gathered to watch Sawol's match. 5-8 realizes the refugees were lured to one spot for easy execution. In the arena, as the match nears its end, Ryu Seok orders Chul-woon to proceed with their plan. Seol-ah receives 5-8's message about the execution plan, and 5-8 rallies his team to head to the refugee district. During the third round, Sawol topples his opponent and celebrates his victory. At this moment, Ryu Seok realizes Sawol's skull is metal. Tragically, the refugees are executed, resulting in a massive explosion at the gathering place, killing everyone. 5-8 arrives late, witnessing the devastating explosion and aftermath. Seol-ah and her troops also arrive, realizing the match broadcast was a ploy to gather the residents for execution. Seol-ah examines the tattooed man and sees a surgical scar indicating a procedure to remove emotions linked to killing or suicide. 5-8 gives Seol-ah a locked phone with crucial kidnapping data, asking her to unlock it to reveal the next plan and the kidnapping group's leader. Elsewhere, a doctor examines Sawol and gives him a QR code labeled 57, suggesting deeper involvement in mutant experiment. Meanwhile, Ryu Seok and Chul-woon analyze Sawol's body scans, amazed by the mutant's physical condition, but due to the attention on Sawol, they can't experiment on him right away. The locked phone's information becomes crucial, and 5-8 seeks Seol-ah's help to uncover the next steps and the kidnapping leader. Sawol returns to his new cabin and finds a courier guide tool. Exhausted, he falls asleep and wakes to find Seol-ah had visited, warning him about Ryu Seok's interest in mutant, advising caution. After a few days, Sawol completes his first assignment and tries to talk to 5-8, who asks to meet after work at a specific place. In his office, Jin Myung contacts Ryu Seok, suspecting his involvement in the refugee bombing. Ryu Seok refuses details, saying Chin Myung trusts no one. Chin Myung plans to speed up relocating the remaining refugees, and Ryu Seok mentions making changes to the district relocation plan, prompting a talk with Jin Kyung. One night, Sawol shows up at the gym to meet 5-8 and is surprised to see a guy captured by 5-8. Turns out, the guy was part of a plot to kill Seol-ah. 5-8 tells Sawol about the hundreds of refugees who died because Ryu Seok wouldn't move them to District A. 5-8 wants revenge on Ryu Seok and asks Sawol to join him. Seol-ah then gives the residents' personal data to Ryu Seok and offers to help check on the refugees' health. Ryu Seok tells her to coordinate with Chul-woon since he's pulled out of the relocation project. The next day, Seol-ah meets with 5-8 to return an unlocked phone. Unfortunately, they can't find any proof of Ryu Seok's involvement in the refugee kidnappings or any clues about the kidnappers' future plans. Seol-ah tells 5-8 that Ryu Seok has ditched the relocation plan, and now the government will handle medical tests on refugees entering the general district. 5-8 finds it hard to believe Ryu Seok would give up so easily. Later, health tests and vaccinations are conducted on the refugees. That night, a group tries to rescue a hostage held in a gym, but faces tough resistance from the couriers guarding the area. The hostage escapes and sends an emergency call before being intercepted. Chul-woon shows up, and the hostage says he was held captive by 5-8 and the couriers. Thinking it's a trap, Chul-woon kills the hostage. Right after Chul-woon leaves, 5-8 appears, showing the couriers let the guy go on purpose to gather info. Seol-ah arrives and reveals Chul-woon has a bomb on his neck that Ryu Seok can detonate if Chul-woon gets caught. She handcuffs Chul-woon to prevent him from escaping and threatens to capture him, but doesn't kill him as she needs info from Chul-woon to prove Ryu Seok's involvement. Chul-woon rambles, annoying 5-8, who threatens to kill him, so Chul-woon cooperates. The following day, Yi-jin asks 5-8 about the condition of the general district. Meanwhile, Ryu Seok is testing a blood sample from Sawol on a patient who shows normal skin discoloration after getting an injection from Ryu Seok. At the same time, 5-8 orders the couriers to check air purification trucks traveling through the general district. They find out the trucks are actually releasing harmful substances into the air. They figure out Ryu Seok's company polluted the air on purpose to keep control, as they'd lose power if the air was clean. Moments later, Seol-ah tells Ryu Seok about his planned visit to the refugee district, making them prepare for an attack. On the day of the attack, 5-8 positions himself on a rooftop, ready to take out Ryu Seok, who is with guards. Another courier attacks the air purifier station, gets the data, and blows up the control machine, stopping the air purifier trucks. As 5-8 is about to shoot Ryu Seok, a loyalist points at him, but someone in another building takes out the loyalist, letting 5-8 continue his mission, causing chaos. In the battle, 5-8 realizes Chul-woon is betraying them and decides to chase both Chul-woon and Ryu Seok. Chul-woon escapes with Ryu Seok in a bulletproof car. Meanwhile, Seol-ah meets Yi-jin to show evidence that Yi-jin's company is involved in kidnappings, bombing the refugee district, and air pollution. Yi-jin asks if he should step in, but Seol-ah wants more solid proof to handle it herself. She hears about the attack by 5-8 on Ryu Seok. Elsewhere, Chul-woon tells Ryu Seok that all the chaos was orchestrated by the company's couriers, including the newly recruited Sawol. Seol-ah tells the couriers at the gym that she informed Yi-jin about Ryu Seok's crimes and advises them to hide until a decision is made, as moving around could cause more chaos. 5-8 tells the couriers to split up and remove GPS devices from their trucks before heading in different directions. Hours later, Ryu Seok and his forces reach the gym to find it empty. He orders his men to kill any messengers and capture Sawol, who is a mutant. In another location, Yi-jin meets Yoon, an old friend who worked with him on building the district. Yoon quit the company because of Ryu Seok's interference. Yoon says once plants grow and the air gets better, there won't be a need for people to live in the underground and core districts. This revelation strengthens Yi-jin's resolve to fix his son's mistakes. Meanwhile, 5-8 meets a janitor who gives him data showing the vaccine given to refugees is actually poison. In a tense showdown, Yi-jin and Jin Kang sign the handover agreement for the relocation of residents, making government officials responsible for the process. Ryu Seok confronts Jin Kang. Frustrated, Jin Kang stands firm, saying Yi-jin will announce the agreement, stopping Ryu Seok from interfering. Angry, Ryu Seok rushes to meet Yi-jin and expresses his disappointment. Yi-jin, aware of Ryu Seok's actions, says his goal is to help people, not harm them. He reminds Ryu Seok that he owns the company and has the right to decide. Their talk is interrupted when the Minister of Defense arrives with soldiers, ordering Ryu Seok's capture. Shockingly, Ryu Seok kills the two soldiers, leaving Yi-jin and the minister stunned. Ryu Seok begs Yi-jin to kill him, preferring death over losing control of the company. As Yi-jin hesitates, the Minister of Defense, still loyal to Ryu Seok, shoots Yi-jin. The minister then suggests Ryu Seok stage a coup. 6 in the aftermath of Ryu Seok's broadcast, 5-8 hatches a plan to head to the core district and eliminate Ryu Seok once and for all. Yoon shares the core district plan that he had previously discussed with Yi-jin, providing valuable information for 5-8's mission. Simultaneously, the soldiers begin a search for the 12 couriers they believe to be terrorists. Yoon, witnessing the devastating effects of the vaccine, realizes that 2 of Sawol's colleagues are in line to receive it. He quickly alerts the other couriers to intervene and prevent Sawol's colleagues from receiving the harmful vaccine. Yoon rings a bell to warn the district residents, urging them to take caution. 4-1, who learns about the dangerous vaccine, spreads the information to the other couriers, prompting them to converge at the vaccination site. However, Sawol's colleague, who is trying to warn others, is captured by the soldiers. One of the couriers opens fire, leading to a chaotic confrontation. Tragically, Sawol's colleague is shot and killed by the soldiers while running towards Sawol. Overwhelmed with grief, Sawol is also attacked and eventually loses consciousness. He is then taken to the military headquarters by the soldier. Inside the headquarters, tensions run high as Chul-woon informs Seol-ah about Sawol's arrest. Surprisingly, some soldiers still harbor loyalty towards Seol-ah and express their willingness to help in her fight against Ryu Seok. In another corner of the the headquarters, the couriers gear up, preparing their weapons for the daring rescue mission. Just as the couriers are about to set off, Seol-ah and Chol-woon arrive, offering their support for the mission. Their determination and expertise bolster the team's resolve. Meanwhile, Sa-wol, unconscious and sedated, is being transported to Ryu-seok under cover of darkness. Chaos erupts as the artificial moon in the core district suddenly explodes. The deafening blast reverberates through the streets, signaling the start of an all-out assault led by 5/8's team and assisted by Seol-ah's soldiers. In a heavily fortified room, Ryu-seok receives a blood transfusion from Sa-wol. Unaware of the impending attack, news reaches him of the combined force of 5/8's team and the soldiers closing in on their location. The realization dawns upon him that his fortress is under siege. 5/8's army infiltrates the stronghold, swiftly disabling the power supply and launching a fierce attack against Chul-woon and his loyal bodyguards. The clash of weapons and explosions echo through the corridors as the two factions engage in a brutal struggle for control. On the other hand, Seol-ah's army faces its own formidable challenge as they strive to rescue Jin Kyung from her captors. It's a race against time as they confront another army standing in their way. In a tense confrontation, Ryu-seok confronts 5/8, who has managed to infiltrate the room where the tubes are stored. Determined to stop Ryu-seok and end his reign of terror, 5/8 engages in a fierce battle with him. Meanwhile, Seol-ah emerges victorious in her fight against the soldiers and enters the room where Jin Kyung is being held captive, along with the Minister of Defense. Realizing the gravity of his crimes, the minister is apprehended for his treasonous actions. Back in the room with Ryu-seok, he becomes desperate and attempts to activate the water core to create a catastrophic explosion. However, before he can carry out his plan, 5/8 successfully eliminates all of Ryu-seok's remaining bodyguards, leaving him vulnerable and isolated. Sensing an opportunity, Ryu-seok threatens to harm the still unconscious Sa-wol. In a dramatic turn of events, Sa-wol's hand accidentally jolts the wheelchair, causing a momentary distraction for Ryu-seok. Seizing this moment, 5/8 swiftly takes action, unleashing a final blow to defeat his nemesis. With Ryu-seok incapacitated, the immediate threat is neutralized. When chaos engulfs the core district, panic and fear spread among the residents who desperately sought to save themselves. Amidst the turmoil, 5/8 and his team spring into action, executing a daring mission to rescue the kidnapped children who had been held captive. Working swiftly and with precision, they evacuated the children from the district, ensuring their safety and liberation. With the children safely taken out of harm's way, the situation grew increasingly dire. Tensions rose as the district teetered on the brink of destruction. Time was of the essence, and the residents had to evacuate before it was too late. In the aftermath of the series of events, Jin Kyung makes a monumental announcement declaring that all residents, without exception, will be relocated to District A. This marks a significant shift in the government's approach, as they take steps to dismantle the discriminatory classification system that had plagued the refugees for so long. With this decision, a new era of equality and inclusivity is set to emerge. 3 months later, 5/8 resumes his duties as a courier, ready to embark on new missions and challenges. He reaches out to Sa-wol, who has been on hiatus, inviting him for a walk. As they stroll through the streets, Sa-wol notices a remarkable change in the environment. The air is cleaner, and sunlight breaks through the dissipating fog, symbolizing the dawning of a new chapter in human existence.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with your suggestions for future videos, any questions you have, or just to say hi. Your feedback is super important to us and helps us create better content for you. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends, family, and on social media. It really makes a big difference and helps our community grow. You can follow us on Insert your social media handles for more updates and behind-the-scenes content. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.